You know, summer Bible camp has been an integral part of many Canadian childhood summers. Throughout the years, in various locations across the country, these specific camps have been a way to share the good news of the gospel faith with many children and their families. Tanya Martins is with the Southern Alberta Bible Camp, and she joins us now near Lomond, Alberta, on the Traverse Reservoir. Tanya, welcome to BCN.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's so good to be here.
You bet. Now let's talk a bit about the Southern Alberta Bible Camp. It's not always been at its current location. Can you give us a brief history of the Bible Camp?
Yeah. So we are heading into close to our 80th year. And so it has been at a number of locations kind of throughout Southern Alberta, one near Hayes and then one even farther south as it began. And then there was a family that donated this group of land, an area of land to us around just about 40 years ago. And the camp has been growing and building ever since. There was small granary type buildings for cabins, and we used to do teepees, small tents that we used to do, and chapel happened in a Quonset, where now we are just gifted with this beautiful lodge in which we can host camp. So it's been here a long time, and we're excited to be kind of moving into year 80 and celebrating all of the things that God has done on this property. So
You know, a lot of summer camps that I've been to as well over the years, we go to certain reservoirs or lakes, but sometimes during the summer months, they dry up a little bit. They get a little bit smaller. Do you find the same thing with the Traverse Reservoir, or do you have lots of water for the kids to enjoy?
Yeah, that is such a good question. We have usually start the summer with lots and lots of water. The Traverse Reservoir is part of our irrigation system out here, and so it slowly seeps back. And so we are looking forward to lots of water. We need a little bit more right now, but that's coming as we look at the skies, but it's good. We're excited.
So how many kids are we talking about that attend the summer camp?
We have the capacity for anywhere from 1,800 to 2,000 kids in a summer. And we had it a new cabin circle right before COVID hit. And so it's our first summer putting kids in those cabins. And we are thrilled to consider that maximum. We're at about 1,200 kids right now. So there is room for you and your kids and your neighbors' kids. So we are thrilled and really anticipating a full place this
Can we
summer.
bring our dogs?
No, that would be good if you kept them at home. Our cabins are not kennels. So, but thanks for asking.
How about any restrictions this year as we're slowly making our way out of the pandemic?
Yeah, as far as we know at this point, there was pages and pages and pages of restrictions in the last few years. And this year, as far as we know, everything is completely lifted. And so we are anticipating whatever we want to call normal these days, a return to camp as we have known it in lots of ways, where kids can run and play and interact, and you can see the smiles on their faces beyond their eyes. And so we're really thrilled for that.
But again, if some kids and parents do want to wear the mask, you're not going to hold them back for doing so, right? Obviously.
No, for sure. Through all of that, we've taken care of our building in even greater ways as far as cleaning and caring for staff that when they don't feel well, we kind of move towards that and make sure that everybody's still safe. And we've had lots of rental groups with schools of kids that have been here. There's schools that are still taking a really good cautionary stand on things, and they come with masks, and we honor that, and hand sanitizer everywhere. And so taking good care in ways that are intentional, in ways that we know will help camp happen.
Tanya, can you share about some of the sacrifice and volunteer commitment to developing this camp?
For sure. As I said, years ago, a family that has loved SABC and all of the other locations donated this land to us. And from there, the original lodge that stood on at this camp was built all by volunteers. And as we have moved through the years, those volunteers have been on our board. They have helped build new cabins. As I mentioned, that new cabin circle that we built moving into 2020 each cabin was built by a partner church. And so they took on the finances and the physicality of building that cabin, and then they were moved on site. And that's just one tiny taste of of some of the big things that have happened, but we have volunteer cooks, we have volunteer nurses, we have volunteer lawnmowers, all the people who come throughout the year to be a part of what has happened here over the years.
You know, a lot of the summer camps, as I mentioned before, that I went to when I was a child, we learned about archery, learning how to do the J-stroke with canoeing, even if a canoe capsizes, how to rescue somebody. What are some of the fun things that you're offering the children there, some of the programs?
Awesome. Like we said, we are right on the water here at Traverse Reservoir, and it's probably the hardest thing. If I could have had a simple lake name, that would have been great, but it's so hard for me to say. Anyways, being right on the water, we have canoeing and kayaking and paddling. We put in a number of ski boats and fishing boats and stuff in the water. So there's lots of water activities. And then on the land, we have archery. So you would fit right in. You could come and help us do summer camp this year. We have archery and all sorts of shooting gallery style and ceramics. And then we've got some fun big ticket items like we've got a number of climbing walls, something we call the giant swing. So it's, if you think taller than a telephone pole, you get pulled up on a guide wire and then set free, and you swing nice and long and wide and enjoy the scenery from up there. And central to our camp, we have two sides to our camp actually. One's called the Fort side and one is here on the Traverse Lodge side. And the Fort side is it's a little smaller, a little more intimate, and it's a little more rustic. And so they live their life fully around their campfire. And so over there, they do a lot of kind of more rustic games and things like that. But right in the center is a hill in southern Alberta, which is sort of on our logo, and it has a cross standing on it. And so Cross Hill is a neat place where our campers go and have good conversations and get to enjoy looking over the site. Yeah.
So Tanya, what would you say is the main goal or purpose of the Southern Alberta Bible Camp?
Yeah, SABC is a summer camp that is focused on youth. So last year we did family camps, which was amazing. But SABC is a youth-focused Christian camp whose purpose is to challenge, encourage, and inspire campers both spiritually and physically to equip them for life. And hand in hand in that goes the desire to develop Christian leadership in young adults. And all of that is encapsulated by a simple statement to see lives transformed by God through the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's the driving force for every activity we do, whether that's writing chapels or shooting an arrow. That's why we're here.
Do you find that you have generations of campers who attend the camp? People say, you know, my kids have attended, I've attended, my grandparents have as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of those volunteers that built that very first lodge, their kids have been on staff, and their kids' kids have been on staff, and those kids are now coming as campers this year. And so it's a pretty extraordinary place to get to be a part of the legacy that's gone before, and to be a part of making the future continue to happen. So yeah, pretty extraordinary gift.
So how easy or involved is the process of attending the camp this summer?
Oh, pretty simple. You can head to our website and there is a registration process that's right there. And then there's also videos actually, because sometimes databases are hard to handle. And so there's videos there on attending. There are camps from anywhere from kindergarten to grade 12. And so no matter where you're at in your kids' lives or your grandkids' lives, there is a place here at SABC. And so it's simple. Our website is www.sabc.ca. Nice and easy, and lots of good information about our pricing. And we have promised that pricing would never be a reason why a kid could not come to camp. And so if that would ever keep anybody from camp, we would take that right out of the way. And so we want people to know that we want kids here at camp. And we have had, both in the volunteers, we have a group of people who love the camp and love that kids can go to camp and are hugely generous. And so we in turn want to be generous to families and kids so that they can come to camp.
That's wonderful, especially right now with inflation so high. A lot of families are finding it tough to make ends meet, you know, with gas and with rent and with food right now. So that's wonderful to hear that help is available. Tanya, we talked about the goal and purpose of the camp. When campers make a commitment in faith to Jesus, do you have a follow-up program to stay in touch with the campers?
It's a great question. I would say that in the years past, as SABC has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, as camps do, that connection point, once they're offsite, it gets bigger. The challenge gets bigger and bigger. And so over the last couple of years, through 2020 and 2021, we began an online YouTube camp experience called Camp for You. And it is on our YouTube channel. And it is a way for camp to go home with campers and a way for campers to connect with us as the personalities of SABC, but also the stories that they learn there and understanding of who God is and how loved they are. And so our hope is that to be able to take something that we got to produce in a season that was really hard and to use that in a way that will continue to take camp home for you post the summer season. And so that element is how we continue to connect. And we also work really hard with our supporting churches to connect those kids to those churches, sending home opportunities for them to connect names of churches, names of children's directors and pastors and youth pastors. So that we can protect their privacy, but also let them have the support of going home. So yeah, it's not a simple answer, but it is one that we are rising to the challenge of. Yeah.
What has the feedback been like from some of the children who have attended the camp in the past? Maybe you could share a testimonial from a child's life that was dramatically changed, impacted in a big way.
Oh man, there really are just so many. We have a young family who have been a part of SABC in a number of ways, and they have a whole swack of kids. And they had been a part of our camp for pre-COVID. And I know that we're not here to talk about that, but it's just a part of the story. So in the early years when the kids were really little, they would come to camp and they loved it and we just found that sense of like freedom and joy here. And then when camp didn't happen during those years, there was this telling the campers that year that we could not do camp in person. The messages that we got from kids that the deep sadness that they were not able to be on site and then getting to offer them back Camp for You. We heard a story during that season where God took a couple of little loaves and fishes that we called Camp for You and expanded it in massive ways. We had that family, they actually streamed Camp for You in their garage and opened it up. And so their neighbors down the street, down their whole street would come and watch Camp for You in their garage safely in all of the COVID stuff that was happening, but made a way for camp to actually get off site and impact those kids that couldn't afford to come to camp, kids that their parents maybe wouldn't have known to send their kids to camp. We got to see camp go out in a way that we had never thought. And the impact on those kids in particular, getting to tell their friends about Jesus right in their backyard was profound. This summer, the kids are coming back and we're thrilled and we can't wait to have those stories happen at our picnic tables and around our firesides. So, yeah.
Tanya, we only have a couple of minutes left here, but I wanted to ask you more specifically about family camp. Let's circle back to that for just a moment. What can families really expect from family camp?
Sure. Last year was our first time ever, and so we learned a ton. Because it was so great, we have taken our last week of summer camp this year and made it into family camp. And so what they can expect is an opportunity to get away as a family and experience the joy and the wonderful chaos that is summer camp. We're going to cook for you. We're going to schedule for you. We're going to make sure that everything is ready and fun for you to get to see your kids go up on the giant swing and have your kids see you go up on the giant swing. Kind of trying new things and breaking barriers and having a chance to talk about their faith together here is probably our favorite thing about family camp from last summer, and looking forward to this one for that 1 week. Yeah.
So if people want to reach out to you about some of the various camps, how can they best connect with you?
Sure. As I said, the website has a contact us button, which is nice and easy. You can email info@sabc.ca. We like to keep things simple. Yeah, those are probably our easiest ways, as well as we have Facebook, Instagram, Southern Alberta Bible Camp, and our YouTube channel has a great collection of videos that give you a taste. You keep asking, or you've asked, what can they expect? Heading over to the YouTube channel gives you some really great taste of all of the fun things, but also the faith and the feeling things that you can expect here at SABC. So those would be three really great ways: the website, our social medias, and the YouTube channel, or just simply email us, and our phone number's on there too.
So Tanya,
Yeah.
before we let you go, what do you think is the biggest reward for you being involved with SABC?
Wow, that is a great and sort of unfair question. I'm sort of the camp mom, and so I get the opportunity to work with all of those campers, and also that much closer with all of the staff that get to work with those campers. And so right now, I have a group of about 25 staff that are preparing camp for all of those kids, and that is one of the biggest rewards: is seeing God's continual transformation in the lives of young adults and teenagers, so that they can share that with kids. And just getting to be a piece of that journey in their lives it's, yeah, I don't often have words. I usually just have tears. And so I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to be here at SABC and to share it with all of you.
Thanks so much. Tanya Martins is the program manager for Southern Alberta Bible Camp. Thanks for joining us today from Travers Reservoir near Lomond, Alberta.
Thanks so much for having me.